What's so interesting here is survival as a temporary OS. Its only job was to get you here safely. And you know what? It worked. The problem isn't that the software failed. The problem is we never uninstalled it. We're basically trying to run these incredible 21st century creative applications on software that was built for a crisis that ended a long, long time ago. So, does any of this sound familiar? That constant low grade hum of urgency, like you're always behind, or feeling responsible for absolutely everyone and everything? That mind that just will not stop spinning? I mean, look, this isn't some kind of personal failing. These are the classic telltale signs that an old program is still running, constantly scanning for threats, even when the war is long over. And here is the kicker. Whenever you try to grow, maybe you start a business or get into a really healthy relationship, or just try to take up more space in the world, this old system sees that expansion as a threat. And what does it do? It triggers self sabotage to pull you back to the safety of being small. This is exactly why growing so often feels like you're in a battle against yourself. Okay, so that brings us to our next section, the body's hidden contracts. We're going to dive into the unconscious rules and these hidden agreements that are actually enforcing this outdated system in the first place. Just take a second to really let that sink in. It's a staggering thought. Before you even had the language to agree to anything, your body was making deals to keep you safe. Deals like, if I just stay quiet, I won't get hurt. Or if I achieve more, then I'll finally be loved. Or if I just carry everyone's burdens, then I'll belong. So much of your adult life is just the acting out of these childhood protection strategies. This is such a powerful reframe. We're usually taught to see our triggers as proof that we're broken, but in this governance model, triggers are just data. They're invaluable signposts pointing you directly to the places where an old unconscious contract is being violated. And more importantly, where you have a real opportunity to reclaim your authority. So, okay, how do we actually do that? Well, we're given a practice. The moment a trigger hits, your very first act of authority is the pause. You just refuse to obey that knee-jerk reaction. Then you locate the feeling in your body. You try to translate its protective intention. And then, from a place of calm, you choose a new response. That pause, that's where all your power lives. And this practice, this power of the pause, it's the gateway to our third section, the return of authority. This is where we make that crucial shift from just reacting to living with intention. And this just lays out the difference so clearly. Living in that old survival OS means you're living in anticipation, always bracing for impact, always scanning the horizon for the next bad thing. It just scatters your energy everywhere. But intention, which is really the hallmark of sovereignty, it consolidates your energy. It's not about fearing the future, it's about commanding the present. Okay, let's talk about one of the key tools of governance, discipline. For so many of us, that word discipline has been kind of weaponized, right? It's been all about shame and force and punishment. But the source material here offers this really profound shift in perspective. Just look at this contrast. False discipline, the kind driven by that old survival OS, it feels like a violent act of self-abandonment. But sovereign discipline, it's rooted in care. It feels chosen, it's sustainable. And here's the best part. It's not about being perfect. It's about your capacity to return to your intention when you fall off track. And that is an act of true self-stewardship. All right, on to our final section, governing your inner world. We're going to see how putting all these different pieces together is where real, authentic leadership actually begins. And this gets right to the heart of it. You don't lead your life from your thoughts or your to-do lists. You lead it from the state of your nervous system. See, a dysregulated system can only react, but a regulated system, it can respond with clarity. Your real power resides in your biology, not just your psychology. So in a well-governed inner state, there's a really clear hierarchy. Your emotions are vital. They're critical data. They're essential messengers. They inform you. But, and this is a big but, they are not the law. The law, which is your chosen values, your commitments, your principles, that is what governs. You don't just abandon the law because your mood changes. And this is really the ultimate expression of that internal governance. True authority isn't loud or frantic or reactive. It's often very still. It has the capacity to hold tension, to observe without immediately obeying an impulse, and to choose its response. That quiet space, that silence, It isn't emptiness, it's complete control. And we're going to end with this thought because this work, it isn't just for you. Your legacy isn't something you just leave behind when you die. It's something you are actively building with how you live right now. The state of your nervous system, those patterns of reaction or response you practice every single day, that is what you will pass on. So the real question isn't just how you want to live, but what kind of ancestor are you choosing to become?
Yeah. What kind of ancestor are you choosing to become? Man, I like that video. I wanted to start with that. Um, I went to a, a AI and business conference a few weeks ago, and one of the things that I learned was this AI app called Notebook LM. And just to explain how simple it is and what this thing does, it creates all types of content for you. But I just put the outline for this class into this piece of AI, and that's one of the many things it created within minutes. So Notebook LM, check it out. Definitely something that'll help you if you're into creating content. But what's up, y'all? Thank you everyone for that's pulling up and that's showing up. Survival to Sovereign is the name of this summit. It's 3 days long. We got it first off. We got to thank my family that's in here. We got to thank my Manifest University family that's in here. Um, Got to thank everyone that supported the pre-sale of this book, Survival to Sovereign: 111 Keys of Divine Identity. Because as y'all was supporting the pre-sale of this book, I kept saying that we was going to have a class, and I was going to do a class digging deep into this book, and y'all supported so hard that class turned into a 3 day summit. So thank you to everyone that showed up to support this book and and trusted that I was going to give you something that was going to elevate your life and your legacy. I love y'all to life, and it's an honor to do life with you. So this is a powerful document, man. It's definitely the most it's the biggest book that I created so far, for sure. I can't wait to get it in your hands, but I'm not going to stand here all night and talk about it. What I do want to talk about tonight is this process that we're going to go through. And I want to start that with telling you that no part of today, no part of tonight is asking you to fix yourself. Um, You're not here because you need to fix yourself. And I think that's actually one of the things that are plaguing us in our culture right now, is that we're always chasing a different version of ourselves. And this isn't about becoming someone new. This is about becoming who you already said you were. This is about not reintroduce yourself, but becoming the introduction. And I look forward to seeing that happening in your life. So that being said, also allow me to introduce myself for those who may be here. Because somebody invited you, or just because you see me on social media or something like that, and maybe you don't know who I am and exactly what I do and what this is about, but somebody got you here. Listen, my name is Brian Hyppolite. I'm known as the Manifest Mentor. I'm a recording artist. I was about to say, there's a whole slide for that somewhere. I'm an 11-time author, recording artist, homeschool father, global mentor, 2025 NAACP Emerging Legacy Award winner. But I think the reason why I'm here and why I have something to say is that I'm absolutely having my way with life. And not only have I been doing that, but over the last 5 years, as I've published these 11 books, I've built a community. Many of them are here present already, Manifest University. And through this university, through my mentorship program, I've been able to show other people how to absolutely have their way with life. And that's what I want to show you how to do as much as I can while we're here. And later on, I'll tell you more about my community and my mentorship. But right now, let's talk about you. Let's talk about reclaiming your inner authority. because this is not a motivational experience. This is a governance class. Your survival self is a state of reaction. Your survival self is meant to keep you constantly reactive. By nature, it needs something to happen so it can do its thing. So if you feel like you've always lived behind the ball, this is why. This is one of the reasons why you have a reactive nature. You live from urgency and reaction. You're paying a high cost of survival. We want to get you to the other side, the sovereign self, the state of governance that's rooted and remembered your remembered identity, that's governed by choice and law, that's operating in the power of stillness and peace. Again, this is not a motivational experience. This is a governance class. Survival helps you live, but it cannot help you lead. Not somebody else, and definitely not even in your own life. If you try to build a future using survival tools, you'll sabotage yourself many times without even knowing why. So, over the next 3 days, this is about authority. This is about inner authority, not performance, not positivity, not hustle. This is about understanding. Although understanding is not transformative, regulation is transformative. Decision is transformative. If you know me, you know about me, you know I'm here for the generational curse breakers. What's up? Where y'all at? That's my tribe. Y'all my countrymen, and I love y'all. The generational wealth builders, those who have said that, looked at something that was going on in their bloodline and say, hey, nah, that ain't gonna happen over here, buddy. Nah, that stops. That stops there, and this stops with me. There's some of us who have decided. We've decided that some things in their bloodline will not move forward. Salute to y'all. And for those and everybody ain't that's not everybody's call and everybody's mission. But for those that find themselves on that mission, we've decided these things. You know what a decision is? You know what's happening when you decide something? The root word in decide is side, right? You've seen this word before. Side, like homicide, germicide, suicide, pesticide. Yeah, Manifest University gonna tell you. Side means to kill off. Side. So when you decide something, you are killing off the other options, the other opportunities, and you're going with this one right here. You have to decide. Some of us have decided and killing and killed off all other options and are moving in a certain way, not just for us, but for those who come behind us. And for those who've seen that alma mater, I welcome you again and I honor you, and I don't take it lightly that I get to equip you over the next 3 days. Let's clean and cleanse our mind and get on one accord and one frequency real quick. I want to read a a handful of affirmations that come out of my first book, Manifesting You, 111 Keys to Unlocking Your Divinity. It's a powerful group of affirmations, so powerful that Manifest University had made it our pledge of allegiance. And so I'm gonna read these affirmations, and if you can, I would appreciate it if you set them to yourself. We all get on the same frequency. I am letting go of every part of me that is not contributing to my elevation. I am letting go of every part of me that is not contributing to my elevation. I am moving forward with dignity, grace, and patience. I am moving forward with dignity, grace, and patience. I am welcoming this new chapter with the highest level of gratitude and humility. I am welcoming this new chapter with the highest level of gratitude and humility. My spirit rises to match new and magical beginnings that await me. My spirit rises to match new and magical beginnings that await me. Low vibrating energies can't reach me at this height. Low vibrating energies can't reach me at this height. My vision is locked and focused on the multiple blessings that are coming my way. My vision is locked and focused on the multiple blessings that are coming my way. How y'all feel? How y'all feel? I hope you feel like generational healing, because generational healing starts within. Generational healing means exactly what those words was asking. Are you willing to let go of every part of you that's not contributing to your elevation? Welcoming your future means letting go of your past. Not looking back sometimes. It means detaching. It means moving forward. Even if it's uncomfortable and even when it hurts. You know, my friend told me, I've heard from a friend the other day, and my friend told me that she seen that it was my ex's birthday, and she was like, I seen her picture. She was looking nice. I was like, everybody look nice on their birthday. Chill out. More importantly, though, she was looking nice when I left her. See, I said that to say no matter how your past show up, you gotta be willing to stay committed to the future that you have decided for yourself. You hear what I'm saying? Many of us have decided to stand up against the generational curses. For many of us, that means we're showing up to fight things that show up in the form of generational demons. And I want to be very clear with you. Demons are not monsters with horns or little minions of some powerful devil. Demons are distorted energy. Anything that speaks against the God in you is demonic. Any energy of any form that speaks against the God in you is demonic. Demons are living energy made from thoughts, fears, and emotions. And they are often the first point of contact for generational curses. These thoughts, these fears. You know what I'm talking about? Again, demons are not monsters with horns. They are living energy from your thoughts and your fears and your emotions. And every thought projects energy. And when that same thought is repeated, the energy begins to gather and strengthen in your aura, like the one that's on that screen, the red one that's on that screen. Strong and repeated thoughts become conscious entities and they develop a simple awareness and seek out more of what created them. So now they have a desire. Now they have something that they want you to feed them with. These thought forms live in your energy field and they will quietly influence your mood, your decisions, and your thoughts from the inside. Fear feeds fearful thought forms, and anger feeds angry ones, and desire feeds craving ones, and what you feel gives them life. Now, to banish them, you don't feed them. To banish them, you don't feed them. What you feed thrives and what you starve dies. The universe is mirroring what you are, not what you want. So to stop feeding them, what you feed thrives and what you starve dies. What you give attention to and what you give energy to is what's going to grow and get stronger. Yes, this is being recorded. This is being recorded, and there are notes and outlines for it. A matter of fact, today is the last day for the early VIP access. If you would like to get that, if you want to be able to get the recordings of all 3 days of the Survival to Sovereign Summit, the guided notes, the framework, the Q&A session that we're going to be having after each class, and all that powerful stuff, that link's going to be in the chat in just a moment. And you can get your access because at the end of the class, we'll be going to a VIP session for the Q&A. And if you want to get access to that, now it's going to be a great time for you to get that access. So let's go to step one, the end of survival. Going from urgency to authority. Survival stops working, not because it was wrong, but because it was outdated, but because it's expired. Survival is temporary. Survival is a temporary operating system designed to protect, endure, minimize damage, and it has a shelf life. So we want to get out of that. Because anyone identify areas of their life where they're still operating in survival mode. Survival mode creates identities. Survival mode creates identification. I'm sorry, that's why like some of my mom was like, wait, that's not right. Survival mode creates identifications, different lies that we tell ourselves. That's why as I travel the world and I ask people, I say, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Who are you? 99% of the time they tell me what they do. They tell me their roles, they tell me their titles, they tell me what's expected of them, they tell me how much they manage. That's identification. That's I am what I do based on labels, roles, traumas, and expectations. I'm talking about identity. When you talking to me, you can tell I'm doing what I love. Like this is what I am. I'm a light of liberation. I was sent to this dimension at this intersection of time and space to awaken the souls of men. And this is what I do. I do what I am based on an internal revelation, based off of divine memory. I'm quite sure I ain't get it right in previous lifetimes, but I'm having my way with this one. You hear me? So we want to get you to your identity and away from these identifications. Cause like I've been telling you, because it's in this book right here. It's in this book right here, Survival to Sovereign, 111 Keys of Divine Identification. You cannot heal a version of you that God never created. You can only release it. And there's way too many of us that have been trying to get healing on something that you that does not require healing. That requires you releasing and abandoning that. It's a good time to do it. It's a good time to do it. Let's get to it. Identity versus identification is actually key number 2 in my book because there's these lies that shape you. Identification is the self you created to survive. The good child, the strong one, the quiet one, the funny one, the smart one, the reliable one, the distant one, the problem solver, the loner, the I don't need anybody. These aren't identities. These are armors. Survival assign these roles, but sovereignty reveals identity. There's the survival self. The survival self turns you into this character that is a walking reaction, a living defense mechanism, a mask with muscle memory. There's a lot of people walking around with very nice costumes, but they don't know how to live with the emotional responsibility that allows them to have the life that they'd be happy to have. Because they learned who to be, they learned to be who life required them, not who God designed them to be. Your identification are things that are built from the pain that was normalized, the beliefs that were never inspected, the responsibilities that you never chose, the expectations that you inherited, the attention that you chased, the rejection that you feared, those type of things. But there's your sovereign self where this identity isn't created, it's remembered. It existed before you had parents, before you had your first heartbreak, your first failure, your first fear. Identity is the version of you that God imagined before the world ever interrupted. Identification is the external definition. Identity is internal revelation. I haven't been able to get through this class in a time frame that I need to, as much as I've gone through it. This is really like 3 hours worth of content, but I'm gonna try to get y'all through it in like 90 minutes because I know everybody got things to do. Key number 3 identifies these versions of you. If you don't have this book, you should definitely get this book, by the way. These different versions of you that we have, and I think many of us don't acknowledge that there's that child that needs love, the survival that needs safety, the performer who needed acceptance, the warrior who needed control, the healer who needed purpose, the dreamer who needed freedom, and the sovereign who needs nothing but truth. And all those versions of ourselves definitely need to be examined, need to be maintenance because they're all shaped by different things and are different masks that we wear for different purposes. But the shadow self is definitely one that I don't want to skip past because that's one that we often ignore. That's why it's called the shadow self. This is the part that is unexamined, the part that holds the suppressed desires, the unfelt emotions, the unexplored gifts, the buried truths, the forgotten dreams, the version of you that you were told not to be. Some of y'all don't even dream no more. Some of y'all used to be dreamers, used to be great dreamers, and somewhere along the way, the world told you there wasn't space for your dream and you stopped dreaming. But you're meant to create from your dreams. So, almighty dreamer, I need you to start dreaming again. I need you to wake up and I need you to start dreaming again. And then I need you to take those dreams and turn them into a reality. You're the child of a creator. What do you think you're meant to do? You're meant to create. Create from your dreams. There's so much wealth in your dreams. There's so much wealth in your mind. And you were sent to this planet to have dominion over it. But first, you must have dominion on yourself, over yourself. Your shadow self is an unlived life. Sovereignty requires you to integrate the parts of yourself you abandoned to survive. The parts of yourself that you abandoned to survive. Wow. The nervous system signed these contracts that we never read, y'all. We was kids. Before you had language, you had agreements, all of us. Before you had awareness, you had assignments. Before you had a voice, you had these contracts. Not on paper, but in your nervous system. Every child learns the world through cause and consequence, and every consequence becomes a contract. If I do this, I'm safe. If I do that, I'm punished. If I show emotion, I'm rejected. If I hide this part of me, I'm loved. If I stay small, I'm protected. If I stay quiet, nobody gets upset. If I carry the weight, the family won't fall apart. And then you grow up to adults who you make yourself earn sleep now. You may if let me do this and get this done and then I'll rest, knowing that your body needs to rest. You won't respect your mind and your bodies need to rest. You make yourself earn sleep. These are the same adults that were children that felt like if I carry the weight, the family won't fall apart. And now, man, now as an adult, you won't even allow yourself to breathe. You're in constant fight or flight. You're in an utter fear of collapse. And listen, there's no amount of money that changes this. Let me tell you this right now. There's no amount of money that changes. We was talking about on who was that the other day that was talking EYL, and they were talking about what's the number for financial freedom, and they was talking about this on a financial show. They said $10 million. Yeah, that's a good number for someone to have to be financially free, right? And it's like, do you think that really makes sense, for the average person? And it's like, I mean, the average person's not going to be financially free. Like we just know that, by the numbers. But what he said next that like made so much sense, and anyone that's ever done this could tell you that this is 100% true. They say the most stress that you get under is when you make your first million, because then you realize how close you are to not being a millionaire again. So the pressure of the money, and anyone who's made their first 100,000 has been at that same point. Like, how do I double this so that we don't go back down below, below this threshold? And many times there's this fear of collapse that we're walking through life with on a daily basis that's stopping us from reaching the type of goals that we have. And the reason why we moving like this is because of these nervous system agreements, these contracts that we had. Children don't understand logic, so they understand patterns. So if you grew up around chaos or silence or fear or instability or emotional unpredictability or comparisons or criticism or abandonment or pressure or perfectionism, hyper independence, survival driven adults, guess what? Your nervous system made contracts to protect you. These contracts create your coping mechanisms, your people pleasing, your emotional shutdowns, your performance identity, your perfectionism, your fear of failure, your fear of intimacy, your inability to rest, your impulse to save everyone. your need to dominate, your need to avoid being the problem. Family, these aren't personality traits. These were terms of survival. The terms you agreed to without knowing. Every child made hidden vows. We all did. We all said something like, I won't need anything when I grow up. I'll be the strong one. I'll earn love through my achievements. I'll stay invisible to stay safe. I'll fix everything so we don't fall apart. Who said this? I won't be like them. Who said that? Who said I won't trust anybody? Who said I won't feel anything because that make me vulnerable? I won't rely on no one but myself. We all made these vows, these contracts to ourselves as children. These vows become unconscious contracts that shape our relationships, our ambition, our emotional range, our attachments, our triggers, our dreams, our fears, our identities. You became who you needed to be to survive, not who you were designed to be to rule and reign. And that's what we're going to get you to. That's where we're going to get you to. We breaking the survival persona. The survival persona was built from pain, not purpose. Every survival persona began with a wound. The moment you were ignored or you were shamed, the moment you felt unsafe, the moment you were compared, the moment the world required a different version of you. It may have been a moment that you felt abandoned or a moment where love became conditional. I don't know, but somewhere along the way, you built a version that who could endure it, not thrive, endure. So you created the strong one, the I'm always available if you need me one, the overachiever, the perfectionist, the invisible one, the peacemaker, the caretaker, the loner, the unbothered one, the hyper independent, the people pleaser, the controller, the performer. Definitely the one who don't need anybody or anything. These are not your identities. These are defense mechanisms with personalities. These are masks, and they're expensive masks to wear. You know, the word mask comes from the Latin word persona, and the persona was those masks that they was wearing in the theater as an actor was portraying a certain character. And so this mask would let you know which character they was playing. Your problem is you've been wearing this mask for so long that you forgot it was a mask. Not only did you forget it was a mask, you started believing that that character is you. This is just who you who you wind up being, trying to survive and get through what you needed to get through. That's not who you are, brother. That's not who you are, sister. That's that mask. And you know what happens when you give that persona that you're wearing life? You know what a persona turns into when you let it come alive? Guess. A personality. And you walking around here talking about that's your personality. That's your survival self. And survival is expensive. Survival is expensive. When you're living through a survival persona, joy feels foreign. Peace feels suspicious. Love feels dangerous. Stillness feels threatening and vulnerability feels impossible. Your survival persona, that's what rest feels irresponsible. Intimacy can feel overwhelming. Receiving can feel undeserved. Help feels like weakness, and success feels unsteady. Because in survival mode, you don't live life, you manage it. You don't express yourself, you edit yourself. Where you're meant to be connecting, you're busy protecting yourself. And that stops you from revealing who you are and what you are because you busy performing for the people, for the wrong people. So this belief becomes a prison. And here's the truth. Your sovereign persona was never meant to guide you to your destiny anyway. It was only meant to guard you through your childhood as outdated software still running your life. You outgrew that wound, but continue with that personality. So, and sovereignty begins the moment that you realize that's the version that kept me alive, but not the version that can lead me forward. So let's talk about breaking the survival persona real quick. I'm gonna give you 5 things to do. I'm gonna give you 5 things to do to help you break the survival persona. Because it doesn't require force, only awareness. So notice when you shift into character. Notice when you shift into character. Like, notice who you become around your parents or your friends or your lovers or leadership or strangers or authority or conflict. Yep. Come in. Yes. You go, baby. Notice who you become. You'll recognize the persona in your tension. Number two, identify what it protects. Your persona is always on guard for something. So, what fear, what wound, what belief, what memory? Find the origin, and that mask will begin to lose its power. Number three, do the opposite of your instinct. Your sovereign self is on the other side of the behaviors your survival persona avoids. And I want to say that again because if you don't understand anything else and you just take this sentence away from here, you could really change your life and your legacy. Your sovereign self is on the other side of the behavior your survival persona avoids. So if your survival persona wants to shut down, you need to express. If it's over explaining, your survivor persona has you over explaining, you need to say less. If you got your track shoes on right now because your survival persona got you running, you need to sit still. You need to say stick, cop a squat. If your survival persona got you pleasing to get through, say no. If you normally hide yourself, start revealing. If it's all about being in control, surrender. Learn to surrender. If you normally will isolate, prioritize connection. Contradiction breaks conditioning. Contradiction breaks conditioning. This making sense to y'all? So that was number three. We talking about breaking the survival persona. Notice when you shift into character was number one. Identify what it protects was number two. Number three is do the opposite of your instinct. Number four, increase your tolerance for being seen. Because listen, survival hides. Sovereignty stands in full view. Your identity strengthens every time you allow yourself to be visible. And number five, practice micro vulnerability. Choose to let your humanity breathe rather than spilling your whole life. Choose a safe space to admit a need, a fear, ask for help, tell the truth, share an emotion, speak authentically. Each moment is a crack in that armor that you wear. Each crack lets the sovereign self breathe. Listen, I'm reading to you, I'm speaking to you out of my 11th book, Survival to Solving 111 Keys of Divine Identity. Is definitely available at brianhyppolite.com. And you should definitely have it in your library. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Just going to go to key number 10, the divinely designed self. Who you were before the world spoke over you. Survival to sovereign. Who you were before the world spoke over you. The divinely designed self is your original blueprint. It is who you were when curiosity came naturally, when joy didn't need justification, when expression wasn't edited, when love wasn't calculated, back when presence wasn't rushed and intuition wasn't questioned, imagination wasn't dismissed, and truth wasn't dangerous. Because that version of you didn't need permission to exist. It didn't negotiate worth. It didn't hustle for belonging. It was fully. And then the world intervened. You didn't lose yourself, you were redirected. And each time the world told you that's too much, that's not realistic, be quiet, grow up, that won't work, that's not safe, that's not how we do things, another layer formed. You learned to trade essence for acceptance. You learned to compress the truth to stay connected. You learned to dilute your light to stay safe. And that's why people have to find themselves. That's why I travel the world and meet people all the time of all walks of life that are telling me that at where they're currently at in life, they're having to find themselves. They know everything about everyone else, but don't know nothing about themselves. Because they've been their roles and they've been their titles. They've been all these other things, but they don't have a real life relationship with themselves. At least not the divinely designed one. Y'all know what I'm talking about? This is the sovereign return. Returning to your divinely designed self is not just, it doesn't mean bypassing pain or pretend the trauma didn't happen. It means honoring what you endured and integrating what you learned. It means spiritual alchemy, turning pain into power, your wounds into your wisdom. 2026 should definitely be a year that you turn burdens into blessings. It should definitely be a season of you reclaiming what is yours. In order for you to reclaim what is yours, you're going to have to remember who you are. The sovereign self integrated. It carries wisdom without fear, strength without hardness, and discernment without criticism. And you know the difference. You can feel the difference. This is power without performance. I'm not performing to you, for you. This isn't regression. This is what restoration looks like. This is what happens when you go from survival to solving. Urgency is a trauma response. If you wake up urgent, feeling urgent every day, it's a clear sign that you're living under a survival mode operating system. Now, I don't know about you, but you're probably not going to make it into spring before you have to update the operating system on your phone. When was the last time you updated the operating system of your life? So you can feel what this sovereign nervous system feel like. There's this pause that shows up when everyone else panics. It knows delay does not equal danger, and that rest does not equal collapse. This sovereign self, it trusts responsiveness over speed. Urgency dissolves as safety becomes internal. Urgency is a trauma response, and clarity, clarity does not need to rush. I could go, I want to stay on this subject, but I got so much stuff to share with y'all, man. We going. This is a good, this is a good idea of where we're going. If you want to compare the survival state to the sovereign state, for those who are still getting an understanding of what I mean when I'm speaking of being sovereign. Sovereignty is a powerful, powerful thing to have in your life. And it starts internally with your peace. And your peace is power. Your peace has so much power. And I see so many of us living without our peace and living without our power because we feel like it's something that requires something externally for it to be produced. Like you only have peace when everything is okay. That's not peace. That's things going your way. Peace comes from the Hebrew word shalom. And the Hebrew word shalom, Shalom. I had it tatted on my foot in Hebrew, so I will always be reminded to walk in peace. But when translated from Hebrew to English, shalom, peace, means a place of nothing, nothing missing, nothing broken. So that's what peace is. Being in a place of knowing that nothing is missing and nothing is broken. Anything that you judge to be missing is not meant to be present. Anything that you would judge to be broken is not meant to be together. Nothing is missing and nothing is broken. And when you exist in a place like that, you have peace, right? That's what peace is. Peace is often mistaken for passivity, though. But that's not what peace is. Consolidated power does not rush. It's grounded, it's settled, it's present. There's no internal scrambling or constant recalibration. There's no need to assert or defend. Energy is no longer scattered across reaction and anticipation or self-protection. See, peace signals power, and power return home within you, within your nervous system. The nervous system is no longer leaking energy outward. We learn to equate tension with readiness. I come from an environment where you always had to be ready. You just always had to be ready. And it's funny now because I be around people who never lived no kind of life similar to what I live in. Certain things that I do that I know is just ingrained for me from just coming from these extreme environments that look crazy to them, but it was normal to me, and it made sense. But we always had to be ready. You weren't even parked going into a parking space. We always had to back in just in case we had to run out. Like you can't. You always had to be ready. We couldn't even I think about this every time that it's time to get gas. Like we got to get gas because it's at a quarter tank. Why is that important? Because in case we get in a car chase, man. Like we like in case. What you mean? What case? What if we get in the car chase? We need gas. Like that's what you that's what you preparing for. Listen, man, old habits die hard, bro. Peace isn't the absence of a problem, though. Let me get back. Let me get back on point. Peace isn't the absence of problems. It is the power that is integrated in the midst of your problems. Peace is internal alignment. Peace arises when internal systems agree. Thought, emotion, body, action, all moving in the same direction. Alignment. Mind, body, and soul moving in alignment. The problem is you don't understand you are four components of your existence: mind, body, soul, and energy. Your mind, body, soul, and energy. And you pay no attention to your energy until it's drained. And you pay no attention to your soul until you need God. But you living this life that's been guided by your mind and your body, and those are the two smallest and weakest components of your existence. And people wonder why they having this smaller, weaker existence. You're being controlled and guided through your weaker components. But if you get your mind, your body, because your soul should be in the driver's seat of your life. Let's just start there. Your soul, not your mind, not your mind. Your soul should be in the driver's seat of your life. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, grab this book right here, Manifesting You, rather, 111 Keys to Unlocking Your Divinity. That's available at brianhyppolite.com. But if I'm speaking above your head, I'm speaking where your head should be, and I'm glad that you are here in this moment. Because peace arises when your internal systems agree, when there's no internal argument to manage and no contradictions to suppress. I'm speaking from experience. Alignment frees enormous energy. Peace isn't something you force, it emerges when resistance dissolves. Anybody need some more peace in their life? That's how you get it. I want you to shift from understanding to responsibility. From this moment forward, stop asking. what needs to be done and start asking what feels urgent and why. Urgency is not neutral, it's information. So when urgency governs, authority is absent. The task is not to eliminate the urgency, the task is to pause without collapsing, pause without avoidance. Pause is commanding time. And if you cannot pause, my brother, my sister, you're not choosing, you're reacting. I'm gonna tell you like I be telling my yo bros or anywhere that I'm going, listen, they haven't stopped building institutions to put us in when we don't pause. And we make decisions reacting to situations. They're creating situations, praying that you react to them. And they got a place to put you. And there we go, one less soldier on this street that can help us create the realities that we desire because we fall into someone else's system, not being who we were meant to be because we don't know who we are. So many of us are still in anticipation mode. Anticipation braces, alignment or intention aligns. So we want to get out of anticipation and we want to get into intention. We want to stop bracing, waiting for the shoe to drop. We want to stop being in this space waiting for something to go wrong. And we want to get into a space of intention where we're spending our energy aligning, rooted in clarity. Anticipation is born from pain, lives in the nervous system as vigilance. But intention and alignment concentrates energy in the present. The people who are always anticipating, they say things to me like, well, what if this goes wrong? And my ass is like, even if that goes wrong, I'm gonna be just fine. Like, even even if that goes wrong, it's gonna lead me to something greater, something like there's all I don't matter what if you bring me, I got an even if for your ass. And my even if is always gonna surpass your what if, because your what if be things that don't happen 99% of the time. And my even if is gonna work for me every single time. My even if gonna work for me. Even if I can empower you with anything here tonight and leave you with something that you have that changes your life, it's an even if. You get you some even if. Somebody come with a what if, you pull it even if out your pocket, throw it on the table like we playing space. Even if. What you talking about? Who you talking to? Somebody gonna have to do it. Somebody gonna have to do it. So let's take it to the next level. Let's write this down. Write down what feels urgent right now. What feels urgent right now? The next question is what happens even if this waits for 24 hours? What happens if this waits for 24 hours? Now, the final question is what fear is urgency protecting me from? What fear is urgency protecting me from? No fixing, no planning, no noticing. Just pause. and learn from this information that's being provided to you. I want to give you some steps, or we're in step one. I've broken this path of survival to sovereignty down into 9 steps. And so I've been talking to you from everything regarding step one, and this is the sovereign steps for step one. Do not suppress your urgency. Do not obey it. Do not spiritualize it. Observe it. Notice when it speaks. Notice what it demands. Notice whether it's accurate. Your job is not to defeat survival yet. Your job is to catch it in the act. So pause and remember this: survival kept you alive, but it does not get to run your future. Each one of these steps, we're going to end with a law. The law for step one, for on this journey, on this path, on our way out of survival mode, from survival to sovereign, is survival mode decided your past. Thriving mode guides your future. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Do me a favor. If you want to get into the Q&A, the VIP Q&A that's going to be happening after the class, I don't want you to feel left out. So, because you may not have known previously that the option was available to you. So we're going to put the link in the chat, or you could go to brianhyppolite.com and get the VIP package, and you'll receive an email that's going to give you access to the uh, the Zoom link for that VIP Q&A that we're going to be doing. If you have questions on any of this, in addition to that, you're going to get this outline. You're going to get notes for the class and all types of stuff. You're going to get the recordings and a lot of other cool stuff. So if that's something that's of interest to you, then you can definitely go to brianhyppolite.com and get that going. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Uh, Everybody in the chat, everyone showing love. You can go to brianhyppolite.com. For anyone, if you're not watching, if you're not on Zoom and you're watching from another platform, you go to brianhyppolite.com to get that access. So step two, emotion control and regulation, reclaiming. That's what's up. Marcus got into VIP. Marcus in the VIP. All right. That what's up. I appreciate you, brother. Claiming your inner authority. Emotion is information, not instruction. Man, I wish somebody would have told me this a long time ago. I I wish somebody would have told me this a long time ago. Emotion is information, not instruction. Where was I when I needed me? You hear me? I'd have made some different choices, man, for sure. I'd have made some different choices if I understood this earlier in life. And this is where many people get it wrong, because regulation is not suppression. See, suppression says, I shouldn't feel this. Regulation says, I can feel this without acting on it. I didn't grow up in an environment that taught regulation like that. And I don't even know if my mother had the words. I don't think our parents really had the words. And this is why this is so important. Like I said the other day, man, my mother grew up in the 60s. So her parents we're teaching their children how to make it home safe, how to suppress so you can make it home safe. Talk like them, look like them, sound like they want you to sound so you can make it home safe. That's what my older girl parents were teaching her. So she, of course, wanted her children to be better than her. So she wasn't teaching us how to make it home safe. She was teaching us how to survive better than she had survived. That was her job. That was the best that she knew. That's what she understands. She didn't have these words, but she knew I want you to survive better than I survive. So do this. This is how you excel at their system. This is how you succeed in life. All right. Now the times have changed, times have evolved. I'm not teaching my children survival mode, tactics, or beliefs. I'm teaching them how to thrive. I'm teaching them the things that are going to allow them to thrive in this world without me. I'm teaching them regulation. I'm teaching them, yeah, you can feel that, but we don't have to move on that just because we feel that way. When you stay present with emotion without collapsing, emotion completes its cycle. So let's feel it. Let's acknowledge it. We're going to address it. We're going to release it. These emotions, these are feelings. They don't live here. These feelings they don't live here. We're not going to give them the place to stay. They might be here for dinner, but they're visitors. They're visitors, baby. They don't live here. You got to let them go. Now, the problem is y'all have let some visitors come in and you giving them the Wi-Fi password. You told these visitors to make themselves at home, and now these visitors is telling you how your house go. Your visitors is telling you how you feel. Your emotions run your behavior. Your emotions control you, not you controlling your emotions, and that's deadly. Those that got that those of us who have lived to have gray hair on us, and we are still individuals that are controlled by our emotions. Do you know how blessed you are? That one of many things ain't killed your ass already? Just because you've made so many emotional decisions. You are so divinely protected and you here for a purpose and a reason. Because I know plenty that ain't make it. Plenty that don't let anger speak and actions follow. Plenty that don't let their fears appear in situations and hit them in a real way. I know plenty of people who ain't who they even had potential to be because their fears appeared and they followed those fears with avoidance. Emotional intelligence. So that's some more words that our parents didn't have growing up. What a time to be alive. We even got words for this shit now. I met a woman from Africa not too long ago, and she was telling me in her native country, in her native tongue, there's not even a word, there's not words to explain that there's something wrong with my mind. There's no words for that. Where she come from, there's no way you can say this is an emotional thing I'm dealing with. This is a mental thing I'm dealing in her native language. There's no word for that. Look at us over here. We have the ability to at least have the awareness of emotional intelligence and decide if we're going to be an emotional intelligent person or a person who has a dictatorship with their emotions. Sovereignty does not mean that you feel less. It means that you feel something but without being ruled by it. The cost of emotional rule is, all the things that happen when emotions govern instead of informs. You apologize when you should pause. You confront when you should regulate. You commit when you should think about it. You withdraw when you should stay present. And later you wonder why life feels reactive instead of deliberate. My job here is to make you a deliberate creator of your reality. Say that with me. Say, I am a deliberate creator of my reality. Let's be more specific. I am the deliberate creator of my reality. And we're not going to abandon this authority when emotions arrive. Because again, emotions are information, not instruction. Emotions inform us, but we can't make them the laws that govern us. Emotions say something is happening and it creates a signal. The signal is not a command. And you have the ability to pause and not respond to it as if it's a command. And a lot of people, this happens a lot when they're triggered. So this brings me to key number 18 from this wonderful book. Oh, we gonna skip past this one. I like this. I like this graphic too. The nervous system is a throne. You do not lead your life from thought, you lead from regulation. So this regulated system reacts, it overcorrects, it collapses under pressure. A regulated system responds, holds capacity, and leads consistently. You cannot govern a life while neglecting the body that carries it. Yeah. Key number 18. All this is in the book, y'all. All this is in the book. Survival to Solving 111 Keys of Divine Identities, available at brianhyppolite.com. And it's only $33 at brianhyppolite.com. Please make sure you go there and get it, because if you could be like all the other people that's going to Amazon and everywhere else and paying $111 for that book. And that's what it's going to be for the first 365 days that book is available on major retailers. It's going to be $111. And a lot of people going to get it. They're going to enjoy it, and God bless them. God bless them. But you are more than welcome to go on brianhyppolite.com and spend $33 on that book, and I even autograph it for you. Now, if you need it right now, if you need it right now, ah, you still gonna have to wait. You gonna have to wait or pay that $111. I ain't gonna. But listen, I got about 10 of them on me right now. I'm trying to get them going before the end of the night. And I got about 50 more on the way tomorrow. So we about to, or I'll be here in a few days. But for everyone that participated in the pre-sale, your books have been autographed and sent out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love y'all to life. All right, so let's get back to business. We're at key 18. Triggers are teachers. Your trigger isn't the problem. I hate to be the one to tell you that. Your trigger isn't a problem, and it's not something that everybody else needs to tap dance on or around. Your trigger is a signal. The problem is most of y'all treat your triggers as interruptions or something to avoid or something to suppress, and really, it's information. Your triggers are not your enemies, they're your teachers. A trigger is not proof that something is wrong with you, it's proof that something unresolved is asking for leadership. And the great thing to do is to pause when you feel triggered. Triggers don't mean you're regressing. A lot of people feel like, especially when they're triggered, especially when they're disagreeing with somebody, they feel like they're going to lose power if they don't respond immediately. And I don't know where that lie came from or how it got embedded in all of us, but listen, that's a lie. That is a lie. You do not lose power by not responding immediately. Pause for a second. Triggers don't pause if at your trigger doesn't mean you're regressing. It means you're responsible. Because here's what actually happens when you're triggered. Something happens externally, and the body receives information and reacts internally. So sensation arrives before thought. And before you know it, you're reacting. The mind rushes in to explain what the body has already decided. And this is why people say, it just set me off. I didn't mean to react. I don't know why that bothered me so much. Why I did that? Because you weren't thinking. Because the body remembered something the mind forgot. Triggers are not about the present moment. They're about unresolved past responsibilities or unresolved past moments. That's why you've seen people react from triggers and you wonder why they acting so childish right now. Why did they just get so adolescent minded right now? Because the trigger that they're responding to, that wound happened in their childhood. And people won't grow past the point of a wound. That's why healing is so important. Because you won't grow past that point. So there's someone right now that right trigger. They 40 years old, but that right trigger gonna take her back to her acting like a 12-year-old, and she's gonna respond to the trigger in the mindset of an adolescent. And homie gonna forget that he got some shit to lose now. You just can't be out here behaving like this because somebody done stepped on your shoes or said something to you that you ain't like, but he got triggered from the time that such and such made him feel like he had to prove himself. You know what I mean? He's forgetting because what is being remembered is in his nervous system, and that speaks before the body. So your triggers are information. Let's use them. Let's use them because the greatest math that you could ever learn, a wise man told me this. So why the greatest math that you could ever learn is the future cost or payout of a present decision. The best math you could ever learn is the future causes, is how to calculate the future cost or payout of a present decision. Now, since we're not doing that, when we're not doing that, man, we find ourselves in emotional debt. Because what you feel does not disappear, it accumulates. That accumulation is emotional debt. Every time emotion is bypassed, rushed, intellectualized, or avoided, it compounds. And eventually it demands payment. That payment looks like these sudden overreactions. That payment looks like the burnout, the explosive honesty, the withdrawal without explanation, the emotional shutdowns. And people think that they losing control. You're not losing control. You're paying interest. You're paying interest. Presence pays emotional debt down. Avoidance compounds it. The mind is the place that you live in, so you must govern it. Let's go back to understanding who you are. You're a creator. You're meant to create. Your habits have you consuming instead of creating. You don't have the energy, the bandwidth, the time to create the things that you're meant to create because you spend so much time consuming, addicted to distractions. And whatever you want to fake care about this week. The mind is a place that you live, so you got to govern it. When your mind is ungoverned, you treating your thoughts like facts. You know anybody like that? You like that? The truth is, when feeling safe, when 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 feeling feels unsafe, your mind takes over. Thinking replaces feeling. Analysis replaces presence, and control replaces trust. Overthinking is a nervous system saying, if I don't understand this enough, I won't have to feel it. But understanding does not regulate emotion, presence does. And this is why capable people overthink a lot. It's especially common in highly capable people because you learned early that thinking keeps you safe, or thinking keeps you competent, and thinking keeps you in control. So when emotions arise, you think harder. You analyze, you strategize, you rationalize. But all that thinking does one thing: it delays presence. And my brothers, my sisters, what you delay, you eventually pay for. You eventually pay for. So I want you to shift from explanation to embodiment. And we're going to do this by stop asking, why do I feel this way? And start asking, can I stay present with this sensation without acting on it? The level of life that you're going to get to is a direct correlation to the amount of uncomfortable things you're willing to go through to deal with yourself. That is the practice. Sovereignty is not the absence of emotion. It is the absence of compulsion. Again, going back to being the deliberate creator of our lives, you cannot do that with compulsive living. Compulsive and reactive living should feel stressful. You're not in control. You waiting on the next thing to happen so you can respond to it. It should. It should by nature. So let's slow this down in practice. I would love for you to bring into your mind a recent trigger. Think about the trigger, not the story, not the person, the moment that your body reacted. Locate that sensation. Where do you feel it? Stay with it. Where do you feel it? Is it in your jaw? Is it in your chest? Is it in your gut? Is it in your hands? Where is it at? Now ask yourself, what is this protecting me from? Let's pause for a moment so you can ask that question. What is this protecting me from? You're not fixing anything, you're listening. And that answer is going to lead you in a divine direction. we want to install this new piece of operating system. For the second step of this 9-step process, this is the integration practice for you. We're going to pause before interpretation. The next time emotion arises, delay assigning a meaning to it. You got to delay assigning a meaning to it for 90 seconds. For 90 seconds. No interpretation, no story, no decision. Just sensation and breath. This teaches the nervous system that it is okay to feel this feeling and that it's not dangerous. Thank you, Siobhan. So that's what we want to do. Type it in the chat. What one emotion I usually rush past? What is it? One emotion you usually rush past. You know, we got these steps. So the steps for step 2 is do not suppress emotion. Do not express it prematurely. Do not explain it. Just stay. Notice when you want to react, when you want to justify, and when you want to fix. That impulse is not truth, it's habit. So pause, because every time you choose presence over reaction, inner authority returns. And the law that we walk away with for step 2 is emotion informs, it does not rule. When inner order is required, it becomes sovereignty. Or I'm sorry, when inner order is required before sovereignty becomes possible. Step 3, discipline, consistency, and self-trust. How y'all feeling? I appreciate y'all. We are on this third step out of the 9. And that's why this turned into a 3-day class. Because I told you I was going to teach out of this book. And when I put this class together for it, it was just so much information. I didn't want to leave you hanging and try to put this all into a 90-minute session. But I want you to notice what has happened in this time that we've been together. We didn't suppress emotion. We didn't explode emotion. We've stayed in emotion in these moments and these practices. And staying changes the relationship that you have with yourself. And I want to make sure that you understand the truth that most people don't want to hear. If you cannot stay present with an emotion, you will never stay consistent with yourself. Because the emotions are going to come and go. Discipline collapses where self-trust is broken. So for this next 30 minutes. I'm gonna try to get through. I'm gonna get through step 3 as fast as I can, so we could go to the VIP and have our Q&A. I know you got some questions. Again, if you have not already gotten your access to the VIP Q&A that's happening after these classes, you can go to brianhyppolite.com and get that access. It'll also be in the Zoom chat in just a moment for you. So this next period of time that we got, it's not about doing more. It's about learning how to keep agreements with yourself, because sovereignty requires reliability. So that's why we're talking about discipline, consistency, and self-trust. We're talking about building reliability without choosing violence. By this point, most people think that their issue is discipline. They say things like, I just need to be more consistent. I just need to get it together. I just need to try harder. But discipline is rarely the problem. Most people don't fail because they lack discipline. They fail because discipline was taught to them through force, shame, or fear. So today we're not talking about discipline as control. We're talking about discipline as relationship. We're talking about key 23 from this powerful book, discipline without self-abandonment. Here's why discipline collapses for capable people. Discipline was often introduced to during moments of pressure or criticism or comparison or conditional approval. So your body learned that discipline equaled danger. And every time you try to be consistent, your nervous system responds with resistance. Not because you're lazy, not because you're weak, but because consistency once meant losing yourself. This is why people sabotage their own plans. They're not failing, they're protecting themselves. What they feel they need protection from, what their nervous system is saying they need protection from. And which brings us to key number 25. Consistency is identity in motion. Consistency is identity in motion. It's not behavior. It's not motivation. Consistency is not intensity. Consistency is who you believe yourself to be expressed repeatedly. If your identity says, I always quit eventually, no amount of motivation will override it. Behavior follows belief. Belief follows experience. And experience follows consistency. So that loop must be rebuilt gently or it's going to break. And I want to also correct a common misunderstanding or a lie about intensity, or this myth of intensity. Most people confuse intensity with commitment. They'll go hard for a week, they overhaul everything, but they burn out bright and then they disappear, because that's not commitment. That's survival trying to prove worth. Consistency doesn't require intensity. It requires what? Reliability. Some of y'all know it already. Some of y'all know it already. There's these folks that shown up with all types of promises. And they show up and they be going hard for them few weeks, for them few months. It be intense. Then what happened? They burned out. Cause that wasn't them. That wasn't real. That wasn't true. Consistency doesn't require that. Cause then what you really looking for? Someone that's just someone that's reliable. Reliability restores trust, and self-trust restores authority. And that's what we are here to talk about. And so when we're doing that, we have what I call discipline without devotion. And that's looked as self-punishment. I know to some people, discipline feels violent. It feels like things are being forced on them. There's a way to see this through stewardship. That the things that you do are rooted in care. They're sustainable, they're steady. And they're centered around growth. Some of you got to start making decisions like you care about your future and not like you want your future. It's a difference. Care offers preventative maintenance. Like how you care for your car because you don't want something to go wrong with it. But let me tell you something, you won't need so much self-care when you have enough self-love. Can I tell you that? Can I share that with you? Because that's really what that's self the you fulfilling these self-care things most of the for a lot of people that's just treating the symptom. The issue is that you don't have enough self-love in your life. And going back to the example of being able to talk to so many people around this world and ask them questions about themselves, and you could tell me about everybody else in your family, but you don't know about yourself, who you are and what you are. Not you haven't lived a life that was devoted to you. You can't possibly tell me that you have self-love if you don't even have a knowledge of self. Knowledge of self creates a love of self. A love of self creates respect of self. A respect of self leads you to discipline of self. All those things follow the other. And that's why you got to have this knowledge of self. We talking about knowing who you are. There's somebody that you were pursuing at some point in time, and it started with you getting to know who they were, and then you knew who they were enough that you said you love that person, and because you love that person, there were certain disciplines that you had. Because you love that person, you were doing things to keep that thing that you loved in the condition that it was meant to be in, which means you were making decisions out of stewardship, out of devotion, rooted in what is going to allow this thing to not just be, but to thrive. And that's the way that you're going to have to start looking at yourself and look in your life. If you have not been living your life through stewardship, you've been living it through force, driven by fear, driven by shame, driven by doubts and distrust, driven by your traumas. You're not gonna get it there. It's not gonna happen. Let's move right along though. The key number 35. Self-trust is the foundation. When self-trust is broken, discipline becomes impossible. Because every promise you break to yourself teaches your nervous system that you cannot rely on yourself. I promise you, you couldn't have the type of you couldn't have a open and active relationship with me, treating me the way that I see y'all treat yourselves. The way you be treating yourself, you couldn't. We want to be cool, and we want to kick it if you was doing that to me, like just telling me you gonna do stuff and they're not doing it, saying I'm gonna make this decision and I'm gonna move like this and then not doing it. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I would take you seriously if that's what you was doing to me. So I can only imagine how yourself feel when you be doing it to yourself. All right, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, 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 for sure. You gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? When you cannot trust yourself, you hesitate, you overthink, you procrastinate, you're waiting for the right moment. That hesitation isn't laziness, it's a lack of internal safety. How self trust is actually built, because it's not built on these grand promises, it's built on small, kept agreements. Kept agreements tell the nervous system, I am safe with myself. I follow through. More importantly, I return. We know how to fall apart. This 3 day survival to sovereign summit, I'm going to teach you how to return. Because that's really what sovereignty all is about. Because everything else I'm going to teach you is great. But if you don't know how to return when you fall off, then it don't matter. It's just like everything else. Sovereignty is all about your ability to return back to this space. Because there's this old programming, and there's so many things that's going to come your way that might get you off of this sovereign path and this sovereign mindset and this sovereign vibration. But I'm going to show you how to return so you come back to it. Make sure that you planning to be present for the next 2 days. Tell somebody that need to be here as well. Let's get to it. Devotion, discipline as devotion. What's happening here? I'm gonna try to move y'all through this circle. This is what I'm talking about. The clean return. We have the commitment. Looking at the circle on the screen, we have the commitment to something. Then we have that moment of disruption, that moment where we fall off. And we have this moment where we notice and we pause, and this is the most important and critical step, is that you return. Is that you return. That's how we get through this. That's how we turn this into creating the life that you desire. You got to return back to that mode. And that brings us to key 73. Discipline as devotion. Devotion means care, attention, commitment without cruelty. When discipline becomes devotion, it changes tone. You don't force anything. You tend to yourself. Devotion does not ask, how hard can I push? It asks, how do I stay doing this? How do I stay in alignment with this? Discipline rooted in devotion does not collapse under difficulty. It adapts. I told my daughters, hey, we're going to start having a date night every week. Every week, me and you going to have a date night, and every week, me and you going to have a date night. And a few weeks into that, it was like, how am I gonna keep doing this? With all the things that's happening, everything that's going on the schedule, I'm like, how am I gonna keep doing this? And still, and because I need a date night too. What you talking about? I mean, like I need this. If I'm setting aside this type of time now and this level of attention, I need that for me too. But I'm sitting there, how am I gonna pull this off? But the devotion that I have to my parenthood, the devotion that I have to my daughters, didn't collapse under that difficulty, under that not knowing how I'm going to do it. I make a way. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to prioritize it. And if that means it doesn't look the way I originally thought it was going to look, like that we had two separate date nights where we, left the house and went here and went there and we did that. And it's just that I intentionally made this space in the house just for us to be together for this moment in time, baby girl, and we're gonna have that and we're gonna do whatever we're gonna do in that period of time. She's still gonna have that moment with her father because that's what she need. And that's what I said I was gonna give her. And my devotion to her says I'm gonna make a way. It's not going to collapse under a difficult time. Now, this is and when I say make a way, I mean even if we not in the same house in the same moment in the same state at that moment, it's 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. You know what time it is. You get what I'm saying? It's all about the return, the power of the clean return. Most people quit because they're thinking failure disqualifies them, but sovereignty is not about perfection. It's about the return without shame. When you miss a day, when you break rhythm, when you fall off, the most important moment is not when you reset. It's how you talk to yourself when you return. Shame breaks relationship. Love repairs it. Speak to yourself with love. I'm going this way. There we go. I apologize, y'all. I know for my sister watching this, who is a international event planner, and she sees slides blinking like that, it's probably driving her crazy. Like, what is he doing? I'm gonna get an email later about that shit. I'm finna get an email on the right way to do this shit. This is not black excellence. I would have hired her, but listen, them prices, oh my gosh. Them prices. When they say you gotta pay for the best, boy, you better do it. You better do it. My sister the best in the biz. You got an international trade show that you need planned, you let us know. Hyppolite INC, you know what I mean? We got it. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat for me. One area where you will practice the clean return. What is one area that you will practice the clean return? Because this is transformative. And then let's also take a moment and write this down. Where in life does discipline feel hostile? When we get to talking about the areas of life that you need to bring discipline to, where in your life does discipline feel hostile? Where do you push? Where do you override? Where do you shame yourself? My next question is, what would devotion look like here instead of force? Because this is not about doing less, it's about doing differently. So now if we move to install something new, this clean return protocol, because this is going to change how you relate to yourself. So here's how it works. You miss a step, you notice, you return. That simple. You miss it, you notice, you return. No story, no punishment, no restarting the identity narrative. And say this internally when you do return. I'm back. I'm back. That phrase restores authority faster than any motivation could. So, what is one area that you will practice a clean return in the chat? I want to give you this. For the next 72 hours, here's your homework. For your next 72 hours, here is your homework. Do not overhaul your life. Do not add intensity. Do not make promises. Choose one small agreement and keep it. Now, if you miss it, return without shame. Authority is not built by force, it's built by trust. Come in. Yes.
Thank you. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Love you.
Love you too. Well, you know how love just come and smack you in the face and you don't forget. I don't forgot what I was talking about. I love them girls so much. I be like, I was so in love with my babies. What was you talking about? Oh yeah. The law. Step 3 law. The homework. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's not overhauling your life. Discipline rooted in devotion restores self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of sovereignty. So we're going to move in a way that installs self-trust. Whatever that means for you. Whatever that looks like for you. We're going to keep our word to ourselves. Because it feels good. It feels good when you do it. Discipline rooted in devotion restores self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of sovereignty. So this is the end of day 1. How y'all feel? How y'all feel? We about to, in just a few minutes, we go into the VIP. So if you haven't already secured your access to that, now would be a great time to do it. If you are watching on Zoom, the link is in the chat. If you're watching anywhere else, you can go to brianhyppolite.com and get your VIP or premium or platinum access, because we're going to be in the VIP in just a moment so that I can answer y'all questions. You'll also be receiving an outline and notes, recordings for all classes, all that great stuff. So we'll see y'all there. Now definitely a time to tap in if you haven't already done that. So how y'all feeling? What was your biggest takeaway? I want to know. I want to know. Matter of fact, I want someone from Manifest University to let me know what their biggest takeaway is, and you could come unmuted on Zoom and talk to me. Let me know what was your biggest takeaway. And I'm asking them first because these are people who are hearing from me and hearing out of my mind and my spirit on a daily basis. And do they got drinks in the VIP? It is. It's a BYOB. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's gonna be drinks over there though. It's gonna be libations over there.
Mhm.
Talk to me.
I would say for me, the biggest takeaway was being able to return without punishing yourself,
Mm,
especially because I should have known better. I shouldn't have moved like that. Rather than doing that, all right, I'm back and get back on the ball. Don't focus on this trip. Focus on what made you, don't focus on the fall. Find what made you trip and keep going.
Don't focus on the fall, focus on the slip. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Talk that Manifest University talk, then, Tiff. That's what I'm talking about. Anybody else?
Well, son, I'll just say I don't have one particular takeaway because there's just been so much. I've just been like taking some notes, trying to retain certain things that you dropped in my mind, and it, I can't say that I have one particular takeaway. It's been all good, man, and I receive every word that you've given us.
Heard. Thank you, Pop. I'm glad that you are here and that you're present to be a part of it. So you gonna let your dad in the VIP. Marcus, you about to say something, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I followed brother Hyppolite. Your father, man. You gave a ton of jewels there, man. Taking my notes and everything. Also, I want to welcome brother Hyppolite, man. You know, I listened to the song "Whole Space," man. So I love that song, and I want to welcome him here, man. It's an honor to have him here.
It
Um,
is. Facts.
Also, breaking the survival persona, man. The 5 ways to do that. You know, uh, that struck me big as well, but not as much as the triggers are not your enemy; they are your teachers. And often we think the triggers are our enemy because
Yeah.
it brings touch pain,
Right.
and sometimes agony. But if we can just pause in that moment to see what it is to learn in that moment and why that trigger is happening, we can possibly learn something from it.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And that's why that pause is so powerful. That's why that pause is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Marcus. Anybody else? Anybody else got anything that they want to share that got their biggest takeaway? And then my next question, which is, who should be here tomorrow as we go through steps 4 through 6 of this 9-step journey from survival to sovereign? Who should be here tomorrow? Make sure you invite them. Make sure you let them know. You can share the information that got you here. You can share that with them, and they can pull up and be here. So let's see. Again, one more time. We're about to be hopping over to VIP for the VIP and platinum Q&A. And again, for everyone that's joining, you're going to get all 3 days of recordings. I know there was a lot. There was a lot said. There was a lot that was left out. So you're gonna get the recordings. You're also gonna get the notes that I've created, as well as the outline, so that you can even be more present. Because you're going to get a ton of information. You will also, matter of fact, everyone who uh, who goes in VIP, you will also be getting a paperback copy of the Survival to Sovereign 111 Keys of Divine Identity. Just because I love you, and I wanted to thank you so much for caring about yourself and investing in the possibility to use this information in the future for yourself and everyone that you love. So not only do you get the access to the Q&A sessions and the physical copy of my 11th book, but you will also get the outline and the recording. So listen, now is the time to do that. You got about 5 minutes left in this session before we head over there. I want to thank everyone for showing up, for their time, and for your blessings of your presence. And it's been a wonderful experience for me to get y'all here, get up to this point. So I'm honored to take this moment And I just wanted to thank you for being here, and I want to respect your time. If you got something else that you want to do, I need to do this evening. Go ahead and head out, and I hope that you make it back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for Survival to Sovereign Day 2. All right, peace, power, and prosperity to you and yours, to everyone in Manifest University. You already know I love y'all to life. I wouldn't worry you if I didn't want you to grow. A rising tide raises all boats. So if this empowered you, share the things that empowered you with somebody else, and of course, bring them here, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We're gonna get it in, man. Y'all be great. And I'm gonna talk to you soon. I'm heading over to VIP though. If you want to get that access, go to brianhyppolite.com. And I'm gonna see y'all in VIP. All right. Peace. Till tomorrow.